The number one secret of wealthy people is debt. You might not think that, you might not know that, but that's true. Wealthy people leverage debt. They go into debt to buy assets or buy businesses or buy factories or buy anything that produces cash and grows in value. And then they take that cash that asset that they borrowed money to buy produces, and then they pay off that debt. In this video, I'm going to talk about how real estate debt creates wealth. I'm going to use myself as an example. There's going to be a whiteboard behind me, and I'm going to show you some real life numbers and prove to you that the only way to truly create wealth is to go into debt in real estate the right way. Make sure to give this video a like. I'd really appreciate it. It helps get this content out. You might think I'm crazy telling you to go into debt, but I'm not telling you to go into bad debt. I'm telling you to go into good debt. Bad debt is a car, a boat, a motorcycle, your personal house, credit card debt. Going into debt to buy things that don't pay you at all. Most, if not all of those things go down in value and they don't pay you to own them. If you go into debt, good debt, to buy something that produces cash and grows in value, then that's good debt. And that's the secret of the wealthy. Most wealthy people don't have hundreds of thousands or hundreds of millions of dollars in cash sitting somewhere or even in the stock market necessarily. Most of them have them in businesses or in real estate. Take Amazon, for example. Amazon didn't start out paying cash for everything. And that may be a big example, but Amazon borrowed money from people. And remember, they sold books. They borrowed money. Jeff Bezos had investors that invested in him, and he used that money to start a business, to buy factories, to store books, to ship out books, and then obviously it grew into what it is today. But he would not have been able to do that just paying cash. Facebook. You might have seen the movie Social Network.
Mr. Sabbath. Mark! Mark! He's wired in. Sorry? He's wired in. Is he? Yes.
They had angel investors that invested in them, meaning they took on debt from other people and gave up, either ownership shares or some type of guaranteed return to grow a company. Those are big examples, but you need to learn and understand that big companies and wealthy people do the same thing, and there's no reason you can't do it. Real estate is a great way for all of us to do that at a smaller scale, but then you can scale it up and grow. Getting into debt to buy real estate, to buy assets that produce cash and grow in value, and then you take that cash that it produces and pay off that debt, and you're not paying down the debt, and you're getting the value of that real estate as it goes up, and you even get extra cash along the way. So I'm going to pull out that whiteboard. Let's talk about debt and how it can make you wealthy. The only way to actually create generational wealth and to become financially free, in my opinion, is to get into debt. Now that might sound counterintuitive, but I'm going to use a real life example and talk about my debt and show you how that works. You're not going to save your way to wealth. You can save your way to making your bills, making your payments, retiring at 65, having some in your 401k or your IRA. That's all possible for sure. You don't have to get into debt if you just want to get by. However, if you want to create wealth, like generational impact wealth, you have to learn how to leverage debt and how to go into debt. Because guess what? That's what all the big companies do, and that's what most wealthy people do. Let's use myself as an example. All right, we're going to talk about my debt. Currently, I am in $13 million worth of debt. Now, that probably makes a lot of you nervous. You think you might lose sleep over that. I really don't. Let me explain why, and then I'm going to talk about how that's created wealth for me. And then it's going to get really exciting because at the end, I'm going to kind of redo some numbers and show you how it creates generational wealth, even when I'm not doing anything. So I'm in $13 million worth of debt, but every single dime of that debt is tied to an asset that produces cash and grows in value. And I use the cash that that asset produces to pay off that debt. That's all good debt. I am not in $13 million worth of debt on my personal house or on a boat or in a car. This debt allows me to own real estate, and that real estate pays cash to me through rent with the tenants, and I use that rent, that cash that I get to pay off that debt. It's kind of a circle that I'm going into debt, but I'm not the one paying it down. So let's kind of start to dig in a little more. So I'm in $13 million worth of debt. That's probably $40,000 to $50,000 a month in mortgage payments. However, the fact that I'm in $13 million worth of debt allows me to own $21 million in real estate, okay? Had I not gone into $13 million worth of debt, if I paid cash or put 20% down on real estate, I would not be able to own $21 million worth of real estate. And guess what? I get all the benefits of owning $21 million worth of real estate, the appreciation, the cash flow, the tax benefits. I get the benefit of over $20 million worth of real estate only because I went into debt. And you'll notice there's a pretty good spread there. Let's talk about that first. That allows me to have, tired of writing zeros, $8 million in net worth, in equity, and however you want to look at it. So I'm in debt, but I own way more worth of real estate than the debt that I'm in, and that allows me to have $8 million worth of net worth. Now, you can see there's a pretty good spread there. And even if the market adjusts a little bit, everyone gets worried about if you're in debt and the market adjusts. So even if the market drops 5% or 10%, which would be crazy in my opinion, I'm still in a pretty secure position. It would just kind of eat away at that equity. That equity is great. I can tap into it and I can use it, but I'm not going to be hurt as long as that equity doesn't drop like crazy, which I don't see that happening anytime soon. And guess what? The banks that I work with that own that $13 million in debt didn't call any notes due in 2008 when all the craziness happened, as long as they're making payments. So even if this number fluctuates up and down a ton, I'm still going to be okay because I'm very, very confident that I'm still going to be collecting rent from my tenants. We collected great rent during COVID. You know, people were still renting in 2008, 2009, 2010 during the last, big financial crisis. So I get its risk, but I feel like it's a very, very secure position. We're going to talk about risk here in a minute as well. But let's have some fun with this, okay? I'm 33 years old. So let's just flash forward 12 years. Let's say I stopped buying real estate today, which I'm not going to do. But let's say I just stopped. $21 million worth of real estate, $13 million worth of debt. I'm done, 33. In 12 years, when I'm 45, let's mess with these numbers. So I'm stopped buying real estate. I'm not going into any more debt. I'm using the cash flow to maintain the real estate, and nothing's coming out of pocket for me. So in 12 years, if I stop buying real estate today at 33, 12 years from now when I'm 45, that conservatively, that $21 million worth of real estate, it's going to go up, it's going to go down, but overall it's going to go up because that's what real estate does. So just by me maintaining the properties that my tenants pay me to do, because I take great care of my tenants, that $21 million worth of real estate will very, very conservatively, in my opinion, be worth $35 million. That's not doubling. That's going up an average percentage of 5 or 6 a year. It's going to go up. It's going up 12 or 13, 15% this year. It's not always going to do that. It's going to, do less. But overall, it's going to go up. It's going to be worth around $35 million. And that debt is getting paid down, not by me. So that $13 million worth of debt is going to be paid down to about $8 million. So doing the math on that, $8 million worth of equity that I had gets turned into $27 million. Now that is generational wealth. 8 million is good, but 27 million without me doing anything, because that's what real estate does. It fluctuates, but overall it goes up over time, and the tenants are paying the mortgage down. And this isn't even talking about the cash flow I get per door, per unit to do any repairs that I need above and beyond the regular maintenance. So this is just showing you the power of debt if you do it the right way. If you go into debt and buy assets that don't grow in value or don't produce cash and you don't take care of them, yes, that's risky. But if you buy them right, you buy them at discounts, you manage them well, and you treat your tenants fairly, and you collect rent, this just kind of stuff happens. So over time, that $21 million worth of real estate is going to be paid off, and I'm not going to be the one that had paid it off, and it's probably worth $50 million by the time it's paid off, and that's all without me doing anything. Hopefully that opened your eyes at the possibilities that are out there. You may think that generational wealth's not for you because you don't have the last name of somebody that owns a business, or you don't have a ton of money already in your bank. That's simply not the case. If you learn how to leverage debt the right way, and if you learn how to go into debt to buy real estate, you can be wealthy too. I'm a shining example of that, and I have a ton of students that are doing that right now, and there's nothing that you can't do yourself. So make sure to follow this channel, hit that notification bell. We drop a couple videos a week, also go live on here. My goal on here is to help educate you the best way that I can for free here on YouTube. And if you want to know more, check out the link below about my mentorship.